Hello YouTube, I hope everybody's doing great. Today I want to show you a project that I found on Thingiverse. I think it was Thingiverse. And oops, did edit myself a little bit. So what it is a hubless motorcycle which was designed to use an ESP32 small PCB board, custom board, to make it remote controlled via a phone app. And I did change it to regular RC remote control. As you can see, and I also added functioning LEDs, lights, front and back. And the other one change I did is make a magnetic seat where the switches. This idea I saw again on Tindy, not on Tindy, on Tinkercad. So this is not my idea, but the original design had these tires. These are supposed to be Lego tires, and when I saw this, I mean, I love the design. I mean, what it's not to love about this design? It's just awesome. And anyway, these are Lego tires, and I tried to look if I can buy them. They are not manufactured anymore. You can find them used, but I did not particularly like this design, and since the bike is rather thick, so let me measure it real quick. So this dimension is almost 5 centimeters, so it's almost 2 inches wide, and that tire just did not look right on it. And by the way, I will show you a picture. I will edit it into the video. I actually just stopped the video and restarted so I can put it in. I had a real motorcycle once that I did do a wide tire conversion from a 180 millimeter rear tire to a 240 millimeter rear tire. So kinda like this, although it would be wider than this in comparison as a scale. But anyway, that's another story. So I did find this design on Thingiverse again, and 3D printed it. I of course had to widen these two parts. On the assembly video they're glued together, but I can just get away with putting them together. You can glue them. So I did widen the frame, or the rear, how you call it, axle. So you can see it here, it's widened. Overall it's 8 millimeters wider than before. And again also this side. And then oh, by the way, I have a new favorite filament, TPU. So because I couldn't find any tires to buy, and I always wanted to try TPU, and in the meantime I did switch my Ender 3 to a direct drive, so it was perfect to try out TPU. And that's what I did. Also, this was the front tire was also to be like this, so I made it wider as well. The front tire is wider by 4 millimeters, and the rear tire is wider by 8 millimeters. I think I said that. And then I redesigned the middle piece to incorporate the LED and whatnot, and made a different headlight. The original design has a bigger headlight. Well, you will see the picture. I will link the link to the model in the description. where you can see it. And I also actually, I'm not finished yet with modifying this. As of now, the headlight does not turn, and that's the last thing you want on a motorcycle, on a real one. And although street bikes don't turn, but on choppers they mostly do turn with the gabel, what's it called, in the fork, with the front fork. So I will change that, redesign it so it will turn with the light will turn with the wheel. So anyway, this was actually my first print with TPU, and I had a little bit too much infill, and then I 3D printed it again, and I absolutely like how this comes out. And this has only 2 volts, I mean 2 perimeter volts, so it's 0.8 millimeters thick, and you see how squishy it is. And I mean, TPU, you've seen it before, and this one has no infill whatsoever. I think on this one I had like 10% infill, so it's much harder, you can hardly actually squeeze it. The one problem is I didn't know it would be that slippery, but TPU is actually pretty slippery. And having this wheel on here, the tire, you have like a contact patch of maybe a half a millimeter or maybe millimeter most. So on my table it just slips and does not come forward. And obviously this is not to go, it's not meant to go fast, and it's not to go outside because it has very low clearance, and the clearance actually keeps it upright. But if I do take a piece of paper, and I found that paper works the best, you can drive it, albeit not that fast. So I will change the tire out to this one and see if it makes any difference. Actually, I could do this right now. Alright, if you bear with me, you can skip the video, of course, if you like. Oh, and by the way, I like this tire design so much, I made a ring for myself out of TPU. I really like this, the filament. It works rather nicely, really nice, and I'm really surprised about how good it works. So I will also 3D print a cover for the servo because I don't like that blue shining through there. And oh, you can actually, so this part is magnetic, normally it's glued on, and this part holds on by magnets as well. And here you can see the electronics. I did take the receiver out of its enclosure and had to also shorten the pins a little bit so it did fit in here. It's still it's still pluggable, so I can deplug it or deplug it, take it out of there. So this bike has actually very few parts, and I could technically build another bike out of these parts here. And that's what I liked about this design. First, it's the only design I saw as a hubless wheel, and it works nicely. And plus, it's not that many parts, and if I see a design that I like, I want to replicate it, and then I see it has like 20, 30, 40 parts of it, I don't want to do it anymore because it puts me off having to make that many parts. And this one has really few parts, and you can put it together, take it apart, you can fix parts if they break or if you want to edit them. So now it's without the rear tire, and the rear tire is again just plugged in here, yeah. So of course you can print it in different colors that you like, and this one fits Also on this one, the tire, I did print it, but it was loose on the rim. So on here it's slightly tighter and it stays on here by its own free will. So you can see how much difference it is. I'm applying the same pressure, and we will see how this will, if it makes any difference. I still think it's gonna be too slippery for the table. And also I'm using Ultra, what was it called? Cura as my new Ultimaker Cura as my new slicing program, because the one from H.E.D.S. is too limited. So with Cura you have way more options without it being too complicated to use. Because I did try another slicer program, and that one was worse than anything else I tried. So anyway, we put this together. So it holds and it turns. You can, of course, once you print these, you have to slightly, depending on your printer and your print. These were actually sliced with H.E.D.S. and Cura makes much nicer prints. So now we put this together. Let me put that side on. This side is actually screwed on by 3 sides because there's nothing serviceable here, just the wires going through. But this side is serviceable, so you can take out the battery, and the original design was probably switch in here. But now the switch is up top. You can turn it off, save some battery. And I did not know, I wasn't aware that these receivers can run on a single LiPo battery with 3.7 volts. I always thought they need like 5 volts minimum or something like that. So that's a huge benefit. Here you can see how I extended it by 4 millimeters, so it will still be centered on the motorcycle, the bike. I will also make a video about changes I made on my Ender 3. If anybody's interested, you can click the subscription bell or subscribe and hit the notification bell that way. So now we will see. Much better. If any, I know that TPU comes in different hardnesses, and this is, I think, 95. There's a letter in front of it. I forgot. 95. This was the only one I could get from my supplier here locally, so I didn't want to wait weeks for it. And it's relatively inexpensive. I think the spool costs like around $30. Well, not inexpensive, but it's okay. And now I can see what me. It's still a little bit. I can annoy some people with that sound. So that infill change made the difference. And I wonder if I can print this in vase mode with no 0.4 millimeter wall thickness. But I can see it has more contact patch to the table, and that's why it's also moving, and this one was just slipping around. So anyway, with paper it would be perfect. I have to cover my desk with something. Does it get stuck on somewhere? Anyway, you get the idea. I will post the remixes that I made, the changes. What happened? A few seconds ago. Am I doing something wrong? Oh, you know what? A little weight will help. So that's, well, the frame I have printed with, I think, 15% infill. If I make that 100% infill, it will not take long, but it's gonna get heavier. And also the side covers are printed, I think, with 15% infill. So I will make this thing heavier. I don't need speed. I'm gonna have this on my desk, obviously, and play with it once in a while. But making it heavier, I think will do the trick, and I will try to print this with 0.4 thickness of wall thickness. So anyway, this was my RC fat boy fat tire build, and I also have something else I'm working on, and I'm sure you will recognize that. And actually 6 weeks before 9/11 happened, I was there and I took pictures of the Twin Towers. So it's of course a very sad thing that happened, but I have the idea of, where's my light? I'm gonna light it up, and for it to light evenly I need something with a narrow beam, because otherwise only the bottom gets lighted up. And to also make it even, I put some milky white plastic inside of the towers, so that makes the light more even. I'll show you. And I also found this design on the internet, of course. You cannot make it really out, but it's like 4 sides. I cut it, scribed it, folded it, put it in. These are obviously not 3D printed, but resin printed on my SLA printer. And the only thing I don't like is on this, the windows. It's only one design, which is then flipped over to the other side. So, and then also mirrored. So on this one you can see those two are on the left, on the right, and here they are on the left. But other than that, I really like this, and I do have other designs that I SLA printed actually. While I'm at it, showing off, right? So these are the buildings. This is the Tower of Pisa in Italy. This is a building in Hong Kong. I had the pleasure seeing it real life many years ago. Eiffel Tower, I was there when I was a kid. Arc de Triomphe, I think it's called, and Notre Dame Cathedral. And SLA printing is really